Take your seats, please. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education of CUSD 201, today, February 4th, 2014. And roll call, please, Mrs. McMahon.
Mr. Armstrong?
Here.
Ms. Caparelli?
Here.
Mrs. Charlton?
Here.
Mrs. Hancock?
Here.
Mr. Johnson? Mrs. Notbush?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here.
If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda, approval of minutes for December 10th, 2013.
Maria, I'd like to have the open minutes from January 14th pulled off and so we can review them before the next meeting.
Okay. Will do. Okay, so we'll pull those. December 10th, anything about the December 10th? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the December 10th, 2013 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the December 10th, 2013 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so for January 14th, we will pull the open for right now, and then if everyone has had a chance to take a look at the revised closed session minutes, if anyone has any questions or concerns, we could discuss those in closed and then vote later, but, so just let me know if everybody's good.
I'm okay with the changes.
I'm fine with them.
I'm good.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the January 14, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as amended.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Okay, are there any public comments first? Okay, then we will celebrate success with the WTA.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Carey and Mrs. Anderson. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you and the community. Tonight, the Westmont Teachers Association would like to introduce one of our newest staff members from the junior high, Kristen Woolwine. Kristen has a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish with a minor in English from the American International College. She completed her master's degree from Long Island University and has a MS in TESOL, which means Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. I had to call her and ask her that one. And she's been teaching for 12 years. Kristen has taught grades K through 12 in New York City, Berwyn, and East Aurora. In District 201, she leads the CRIS Strategy Group, is on the RTI committee, an instructional coach, and an Ames web manager. Kristen meets regularly with the high school staff to align curriculum for Spanish and ESL. Please welcome Kristen.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm a little tall, so I'm going to move this up. I have a brief PowerPoint to share with you. I'm excited. When everyone was asked to do this, I jumped up because I went to the annual statewide conference for linguistically challenged students, or teachers of them, and I was so excited going there. I'm like, oh, I want to share. So I am passionate, exuberant, and that's my personality, and I'd love to share this with you. So I have a video that you will not see, but I'll tell you what happened, okay? So this is my personality. I love to dance. That's just a little about me. And this is what I'm doing in my classroom. I have, ESL students from China, Thailand, we have Mexico, we have Filipino students, so we have a good little mixture. So I went to a workshop that was called Mindful Practices, and it was run by Carla Tantillo, who happened to be the daughter of my former principal in Berwyn, so I got excited over that. So it's yoga in the classroom, but it's also having students connect. So there was an activity that we did. If we had more time, I'd do this all with you. But there was a cotton ball activity where you talk about breathing and getting yourself together, because usually after lunch the kids are a little woo. So you blow the cotton ball between someone's feet, you're working with someone. And if you can see the student in the gray sweatshirt, he's from China, and he's had quite the time assimilating into our country, and he was smiling and so excited, and that was one of the first times I saw that, and it just, oh, I get emotional. So he was laughing, and then I had them do a wrap-up activity, and here's this, and I'll read it because it's a little hard to see, but at the bottom, this helped me to know sometimes that you need help, and a person can help you do something you can't do. And that was huge, because this was somebody that wouldn't speak out, raise their hands. You know, they often are intimidated by speaking out. So, and then there's the student in the background, he's jumping up and he got the cotton ball, and they were just so excited. It took about 3 minutes, and their attitudes changed. They sat down, they were ready to learn. It was awesome. So I am ordering the book for my class, and I plan on doing more things. And there's a lot of academic things you can incorporate with that as well. So that's one thing. And my next slide is, was the opening person. His name is Jeff Swires. I believe this book was about 2009. It's nothing new. And I know a lot of teachers are doing this in their classroom as well, academic conversations. I sat there and watched him, and I'm like, I do this. All these teachers are doing this. However, he had this graphic organizer that was just amazing. And he elaborated in detail on what the students were going to talk about in class. And I'm like, I have to do this. And this is another thing I'm ordering. So this is just a little brief graphic organizer, what he uses. And then this is the next slide. I used an art lesson, took it in my classroom. Now this is pretty high level reading. So we read one section as a group, and then I took the other article and broke the kids into 2 groups. And then I broke down how they were going to speak, and they did it. So this is the next slide that we did. So I put up a little picture. We did prehistoric art that Miss Rucker had in her class. I gave them some vocabulary words. I gave them basic skills like agree, disagree, and they did it. And that's the video that I can't show you. But here's the picture. That's one of the students there. And they were in 2 groups of 6, and I got in the middle so I could monitor their conversations. And then in the meantime, I gave them words to use to speak. And they did it, and they continue to do it. And today, I just had one of the students said, I would like to clarify that vocabulary word. And I just was like, I get so excited. But I'm just seeing them smiling, and I'm pushing them because they need to do what everyone else is doing. So I know that's not a lot, but if you want any information about any of this, please email me, and hopefully by the end of the year I'll have more to tell you, because I've ordered those 2 books, and then I can do more of the class. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And I have a question, well, 2 questions. One of the things that we have in front of us is approval of the 2014-2015 school calendar. And so, Kevin, this is the proposed schedule that we are looking at.
Right.
So, assuming we approve this, then this will be available up on the website tomorrow for parents?
Right, we can get it posted.
Okay, just because I know that's like the number one, well, that's not the number one question, but, so the first day of school for students would be August 20th of 2014, right?
Correct.
And then we won't even talk about the end of the school year. Okay, so the second question that I have is about this school year, and people say thank you very much for sending out the information about the end of the school year. And the question that I've received from some parents is, yes, we have a calendar that we always throw the snow days at the end of the school year. Is there any other way to make up that time? And I'm just, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not, it doesn't have to be answered tonight or whatever. It's
Right.
just I'm getting this question a lot. And I don't have, obviously, control over that. So I don't know logistically, contractually, whatever, if there's, and I know I'm looking at you and.
Right, and I know some districts, as they use emergency days, then possibly other holidays
Yeah.
you lose the other holidays, Pulaski Day, those types of days, or you start maybe possibly eliminating days from spring break. I believe, though, that those districts communicate that to families at the beginning of the school year.
Okay.
So they're forewarned.
Okay,
Because the problem that you run into sometimes, families, it's a 3-day weekend, they've planned a trip, spring break, they've planned a trip, and so now you're telling them that they no longer have that day off of school.
Okay.
And even for your staff, your
Right.
staff also plans trips and different activities, and so I think it's something that we could have a conversation with the WTA about, and if going forward, we'd like to consider those options, rather than always adding on to the end of the school year, we could look at those possibilities.
okay, basically, I'm wanting to check everyone in this room and anyone who's watching that the answer comes from this chair here, not from us in the Jewel, right?
I had a question regarding
Yeah. Sorry.
I had a question regarding the calendars, too. Mine actually revolves around the PLC days. I know the staff is using them very well, and I know it is helping the students, but the parents are still very concerned about all the PLC days. And I thought I remember that when we first set this up, that we were hoping that within a year or 2 or 3 years, there could be some reduction in the PLC days. And I'm not seeing that on the calendar for next year, so I don't know how we feel about that, but there is some concern from the community that we're not scaling them back at all.
Sure, and I understand that, in terms of meeting the requirements for the State Board of Ed, we're fine with our minutes of instruction. And that's, something that as a district, as we have conversations, the time is being utilized by the staff. It's not just an extra prep period, but there's a good work that's taking place. And I think we're still at a point where there's still work to be done, and we're really, I don't think, at a point where we'd be able to start to reduce those number of days, because we still, with the Common Core and some of the things that we're doing, and also with formative assessment, some of those things that we're doing, we still need that time to do that work.
Are we still sending out, I haven't seen any, but it might be my email. Are we still sending out the monthly reports after the PLCs? I know last year, every time there was a PLC meeting, there was like a report that was generated out to the parents, out to the community on the blog.
Right.
And maybe it's just my, we went through the website change, maybe I didn't click the right box, but I haven't seen any. So I don't know if maybe that's a missing communication piece, or if it's just.
Right, and that's something that we can resume. We did have, you're right, we did have a regular schedule rollout of what has occurred. That's something that we can work on, with it's our district leadership team that kind of works together in terms of those initiatives. And so we can definitely get an update out to.
Even once a month or once a
Sure.
quarter, something to the parents so that, everybody can, refocus on the real
Sure.
goal, so.
Sure.
Following up on that, I know we did this last year, at the end of the year. Could we schedule something at one of our board meetings for the end of this year to recap
Sure.
the PLC? Just because that does bring up a good point. I didn't even kind of realize that, you don't realize what you don't have. So so getting updates again too, but also thinking about that year end.
Sure.
So,
Because we can even share out, because I see it, obviously, with every PLC day, there's an agenda that goes out to the staff, so, and Miller and Manning, they work together. And then the junior high, sometimes, depending upon what's going on, sometimes there's collaboration with the high school. But there are agendas that are shared with the staff, so even, making those agendas public, and then also, some type of, like, as you're suggesting, Gary, maybe a monthly update on, what's occurred and some of the progress that's been made, sure.
because that does bring up a
I'm
good.
sorry, do you want to include those like in the board packet, in the communications or whatever, or
I think, I think the updates, I think it's more than just the board that would like to see that information. So I think that's something that we can do as an e-alert, with all the buildings.
I remember last year, it was very nice, a different person was writing it all the time, so
Every
you got like a
time, yeah.
different perspective all the
Right.
time of what was going on. That was very nice, so.
Right. And we can even work that out where it's a rotation, so that's not,
Right, it doesn't become
always
burdensome
from
on
the
one
same
person. right.
building or from the same group.
That is a great tool. I mean, I enjoyed seeing those updates. And with regard to scaling back, Kevin, would it be days that it would be scaled back, or would it be minutes that it would be scaled back in the event that we ever scale it back? I mean, obviously,
Right.
we committed to a PLC.
And that's something that I would want to process with the staff.
Yeah.
And to see, get input from the staff before we make that decision.
Yeah.
Because there's values to meeting frequently on a regular
Sure.
basis. But then at the same time, if it's not a sufficient amount of time, you're not going to really be able to get into some in-depth conversations. And so I would want to talk to the staff before we made that decision.
Well, like I said, we made the commitment to move forward on the PLCs. So if it's not optimal, then it's, stick with what you're doing, because if it's working, I want to see the fruits of this
Right.
at the end.
I think, I feel like exactly the same way. I think we committed to it, but I think it's our responsibility to get that message out to the parents, like
Sure.
what it is that is happening, because I think we did say we're gonna review this, and so if the kids are not in school, it's up to
Right.
us to tell everybody what is happening to benefit their students.
Sure.
So
Sure.
and I know that there's a lot of good work going on, so any and all communication that we can get out, sharing
Right.
what it is
Sure.
teachers are doing, I agree with. Okay, so anything else in the consent agenda? Then the chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Number 1, personnel recommendations. 2, approval of 2014-2015 school calendar. 3, abatement of working cash funds. 4, approval of January 2014 expenditure report. And 5, ratification of December 2013 regular payroll.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Mrs. Natbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Okay, then, the next item is presentation of monthly financial statements.
Okay, December financial statements are attached for your review. And the district received just about $404,000 of revenue from the state during the month of December. And it was for the first quarter categorical payments. The state's vouchered $347,000 of fiscal year 14 payments that have not been released yet. And we received another installment of the 2012 tax levy in the amount of $247,000. And we've collected 99.3% of the 2012 taxes to date. We'll receive a couple small distributions over the next couple months, so that percentage should go up just a little bit. It's about in line with prior years. And again, revenues in all of the funds are basically comparable to the prior year. And then as far as expenditures go, they are comparable to prior years as well. Right now, we're, trending a little bit better than budget, so we're looking at coming in under budget right now, but we've still got a lot of, especially in the O&M fund, we've got a lot of cold weather and snow that we're gonna continue to deal with. So we'll kind of continue to monitor that fund as we go. And then transportation fund expenditures are a little bit low, but again, some of that is the timing of receiving bills from the vendor. Fund balance reports attached, also the student activity report and the investments are attached for your review. The other thing I wanted to just briefly touch on was, we did get the December 31st, 2013 CPI information, and that came in at 1.5%. So that's what we'll be utilizing for the following year's budget, and that is exactly what I had presented in the 5-year plan. So we're right on target with that. And then another financial update is we did apply for the school maintenance grant, and it's a matching grant, and we received we will receive $43,750. That when we applied, we're going to utilize that for the roof replacement at South. So that, we're estimating that project at about $87,000. We'll receive half of that, up to $43,750. So that's very good news. We continue to be very fortunate in receiving grant monies that we're applying for in the district.
Thank you,
So-
Kim, for that. That's fantastic.
And that was specifically for the roof itself?
For the,
correct?
yes, you have to specify
Right, what it
the
is, right, okay.
project. Yep.
And that's fantastic to go after matching money, so thank you very much.
Has there been any word on that security grant that was
Kevin
going to be
and I
coming
are-
out in January? I know I saw it on one of the state websites.
Yeah, we just got it, but we're not sure that we qualify. And
Okay,
We're still.
reviewing it?
I did,
Let's see.
well,
Oh.
you need to get a PIN number, and so I did contact
Yeah, we,
the group to forward us a PIN number so we at least can look at it.
Okay,
yeah, we did not receive communication saying that we were eligible, so we're following up on that.
okay.
Okay. And then, did you want to do the property tax assessment
Yeah, I
appeals?
just gave you a summary of the property tax assessment appeals, and these are things in excess, where the appeals are in excess of $100,000. We received notice from the county on that, and so I've given you, obviously, the location, the current market value, and the current assessed valuation, as well as what the appellant is proposing their assessed valuation should be. And then the county works on our behalf to, the assessors try to fight those challenges to maintain the market value for the district. And then the ones that are over $500,000 in difference, then we send to Forensic Rattlet to intervene on our behalf. So this is just an idea, so see what type and the amount that we have. I think there were like 23 this year. Prior year, it's about the same as prior years, and a lot of the businesses are the same ones that appeal from year to year. So anyway, it's just an update, and we'll keep you updated if we have any additional information about these.
I have a quick question. So if we have the same businesses that do this, what is the percentage of these, if you know it, that are successful? If you
I
got
don't
anything off
know the
top of your head,
percentage.
just-
I mean, the valuations have continued to go down year after year. So I don't know which in particular have been, we haven't really gotten notification of ones that are successful because of that, or just the overall assessment changes because of, the poor economy.
So the only reason I ask is because you say that many of them are from the past. So is it just like they just keep filing every year to see if they
Yeah, and
can-
there are some attorneys that do that on behalf of,
Sure, okay.
you'll have one attorney and files maybe 8 of these.
Okay.
So they have certain clients and that's just what they do.
Okay.
And we have a lot of industry in Westmont as well, so you see a lot more of these than you might in other districts where there aren't as many businesses.
Okay, did you have anything else then?
I have one question on that. Kim, where does the proposed assessed value come from?
From the company
So
appealing it. So
they decide what they want to
And they
pay?
may decide, some of it may be, they may have vacant, it may be an industrial building, and there may be some vacant space in their building or things like that. They may appeal it based on price that they purchased it from. It, you know, it may have, they may have purchased it at a much lower price than it was assessed at, so of course they're gonna appeal
Sure.
that. So that's
Thank
where
you.
some of that's coming from.
Was that it, Mary Kay? Mary Kay?
Yep, that's it. I'm sorry. Yep, thanks.
Okay, then the superintendent's report.
On January 21st, the Joint Committee met, and the Climate Committee debriefed the Bowling Awareness Week, and then drafted a SMART goal. Their next meeting is February 18th. Strategic Planning worked on their SMART goal. Facilities and Finance reviewed the information related to the facility and planning, and then also the question the board is posing to the community on increasing the debt service extension base. And that information was shared with the Joint Committee as well. With the EPIRT update, all the subcommittees have been working independently. Although class size, we had another weather delay, and so in the process of rescheduling that, but we're currently surveying the community. The technology subcommittee is pretty well, I think, almost wrapped up, and they're actually working on their final report. Staff development is reviewing the financial information, and they are looking at the, again, analyzing the impact when increasing and decreasing the funding. Pool subcommittee met this evening, and then the summer school subcommittee is meeting on Thursday, and so then they'll be wrapping up their report. And the plan is, because I know I did share with the board our staffing budget timeline that we work with. That's the timeline we pretty much use every spring. But the plan is to have these reports wrapped up and to the board prior to having some of those discussions, so that the board will have that information as well as we move forward. And then with regards to communication, the board put out a communication to the community, to parents regarding the e-alerts, and there's also a link on the website now to remind parents how to sign up for various e-alerts. And so hopefully we'll have more of our parents signing up so that they can get timely information. And then, as what was mentioned earlier, we did have so far we've used 4 emergency days, and we will be making those up at the end of the school year. Graduation dates will remain the same. And we still have 1 more in reserve. And then there is a process, if you have to use beyond 5, there is a process that you work through with the ROE and the SBE, if indeed we continue to have this type of a winter, so.
And we'd be standing in line with everybody else.
Right.
Kevin, can I just ask how that works with regard to the graduation dates remaining the same? And is the expectation that the junior high and the high school kids will come to school after graduation?
Actually, for the 8th graders and the seniors, they would be done, which I know, there is the concern about missing the 4 days. The problem you run into, it's kind of like if we were to all of a sudden announce that we're going to do truncate spring break by a couple of days.
Right.
The problem you run into with the graduation dates, families, have family coming in, and it's, I was actually with a group of superintendents on Friday we were discussing the park exam, but it came up, this whole rescheduling days and so forth. And everybody in the room, there was over 20 of us in the room, said, basically to reschedule graduation dates just creates such a firestorm
sure.
that it's really not something that I think we want to get out in front of. So that's one of the reasons why it's difficult to move that date once it's a published date.
I completely agree with that decision.
Yeah.
Could
I
you
just
imagine?
wasn't sure how you
Sure,
were going to get the
sure.
kids to go to school after graduation.
I didn't even think of that. That would be,
You don't.
No, you don't.
well, and it's interesting in households that have some children in the family
Oh,
that
yeah.
will be making up those days and some that won't. So that's a lot of fun. I just want to share that. Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, just a quick thing, just to reiterate, the letter that we did put out. I guess it became apparent that, people were signing up for, on the e-alerts, like Westmont Junior High, and not signing up for the daily announcements. So thank you for getting that out to people, because I think people were thinking that if you're signing up for, especially the junior high and high school who put out a daily announcement every day, I think parents were assuming that they were getting that, but according to the new website, it's not. So please, parents, sign up for those things.
And I just wanted to add, I appreciated I know that high school meeting that was scheduled for the AP was rescheduled, or a second night was added, and I appreciate all the communications that have gone out over that, or about that. I know we've got at least maybe 2 phone calls at home, plus some emails, and I think a letter actually went to like the high school families. And I think that's kind of a model
Right.
in some ways of how we want to let our community and our families know, especially these things that are academic. I think it's really important that we really communicate those things effectively. And so this was a good model. I think almost, in the administrative manual, there should almost be a step-by-step on this is how we communicate with our families for when you have community meetings, or especially when you want to bring parents in for something, that notifications go out, a week ahead of time, and then 2 days ahead of time, and then if it's something really important, maybe a letter would go home. I know there was a time when the district sent letters home all the time. And I know we've curbed some of that back over the years, but I think when we have something that you really want to make sure parents know about, and you've got to hit them from all different angles, otherwise they lose track of it. But this was very well done as far as getting the word out. So I appreciate that, and I think it's a good model.
One came out right before I left the house tonight. So I don't know if that's an addition to that, so that was really good.
And tomorrow is tomorrow the internet
Tomorrow is the internet
Safety.
safety presentation at the high school, and that is at, I want to say 7, right?
Auditorium, high school.
Okay, then we go to board reports. Are there any?
I have something from the last SACID meeting. They kind of put out a call, I guess, to member districts about classroom space that has been needed for new programming that they're adding or trying to expand. And that's at the junior high and the senior high level. And I know I've sent information to both Kevin and Kim, and I've talked to Dr. Volpe, but I think it's something to make sure that I'm not always sure how that works out between the co-op and the member districts, how those communications happen, but if we have available space and it's something that would be beneficial, certainly be beneficial for SACID, because they basically said that if we can't find space, we're going to have to change our programming plans. And I would really hate to see us, if we did have space, to see co-op programming have to be curtailed because we didn't step up. So I hope we're, looking into that, or I hope the connection has been made between us and SACID. So.
Nothing for me.
Anything else? Well, I just had 2 things, and I know John just left, so maybe he's downstairs. The snowflake was just last weekend, and I would like to change the name of that so that we don't have it, and that brought the snow. No, but again, that was a fantastic, the program was obviously a fantastic program. But again, alerting the parents, there was a lot of concern about the weather. And so I think Mr. Jonak did a great job of getting the message out there for the parents of the students involved in that, so. And then I have one quick question, and it's just a direct, oh. Did you hear it? Okay, well, excellent, you walked out before. Just another example of, getting the word out is fantastic, so. Running back. Let's talk about math now. I just have a quick question, a protocol question, and maybe we can answer this once and for all, as long as this is record time with our meetings. If parents, Kim, and this goes strictly to you, if parents have concerns about the bus, would you please what should parents do about bus concerns? Where should they go?
Well, they can call their school.
Okay.
In the morning or before or after, but they can also call our office as well, and we
Okay.
can assist them with that. So, for instance, a bus was late today, after school, after the band, and we did get a call
Okay.
and took care of that for the
So
parent.
in terms of the chain of command, parents should be going to the school or the district office.
Right.
Because I know
this-
you need to
right,
know that.
Right. The school will be, kind of the first line because they usually should know if the bus is running late or, sometimes a parent may call in and they'll call into the school, then that will get communicated to us, but the school has the capability of communicating with the bus company and then following through, and then that, they'll let me know that, hey, buses were late today, or there was some issue, or things like that, and they do communicate directly, but I do get involved as well.
Okay, thank you. Any? We're coming out of closed. Oh, no, we did that already. Okay. Are there any other public comments? John? You didn't have to come back. I mean, we'd love to have you.
Glad you did, though.
early.
Oh, you know what? Outdoor Ed's coming up, right? Next week?
Next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I just realized that didn't Dr. B have a shirt on that said Outdoor Ed? Okay.
Are they expecting snow?
Of course they are.
We're not gonna tell you about snow.
Did you hear me say we gotta change the name? Okay, and no public comments. Okay, then the chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining, personnel issues, student discipline, and probable litigation.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
Okay, then there is not a vote after. 7:30.